Hello mouses! Today's episode is brought to you by building work going on outside, so if you ever hear it's because of building work and not because anything in my head has tried to crash or stall or anything like that. Especially not the hard disk that I haven't got implanted through secret government projects. Roll VT. Okay, since the BBC News magazine had decided that it was a good idea to run an article on the 14-foot-long giant snake that used to exist in prehistoric times, and then, as if that wasn't bad enough, went on to ask some scientists whether such snakes could come back due to global warming, and the scientists said yes, because they like to tempt fate, I decided it was a good idea if we all got prepared for the inevitable invasion of giant snakes. So let's do that. First of all, we need to know what kind of giant snake is it? Is it poisonous or is it not? Well, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter either way. Poisonous snakes would actually be an advantage when they get to be giant, because that way you'd die quicker. Because giant snakes are so large that they can just crush you with 400 pounds per square inch of muscle going and then you go and die. But since I'm British and we were brought up on the metric system, that's no real use to me. But apparently someone decided that instead of actually telling us what it was in newtons per square metres, or kilograms per square metres, something that would actually be useful to us, they decided that it's 1.5 times the Brooklyn Bridge. And that's quite a lot of weight, especially if it's on yourself. I mean, I'm not Superman, you may have noticed, so I can't really lift the Brooklyn Bridge, but I'm told by reliable sources that it's quite big and quite heavy, so that's a lot of weight. You're going to die either way, so let's put aside the idea of poisonous or not poisonous, because this is a giant snake. When it gets to giant, it doesn't really matter. So how do you spot a giant snake? That's the big question. Well, it's 14 foot long and quite tall, and it looks like a giant snake. Now, I know some people might have a bit of trouble identifying what a snake is, so let's put it this way. They're a head with a long body. It's basically a head with a tail attached. So if you see something that's a head with a tail attached and it has little feelers on top, then that's a slug, or if it's got its house with it, that's a snail. That's not a giant snake, but if they're giant as well, then we've totally descended into Dungeons and Dragons territory, so just fireball that thing's ass and run. I'd suggest casting haste on yourself first so you can run away quicker than the fireball can catch you. Is what would happen if you didn't. Now, if it has spikes on it, or legs, then it's probably a porcupine, and that's not going to be good for you either, because if that's giant, then you're going to get hit with needles, and that's going to really harm your day. So we have identified a giant snake. It's a big head with a tail, and it's got big fangs. It probably won't go but you never know, because it's a giant snake. It doesn't have to follow normal activities, does it? Because it's new. So, what else can we do? Now that we know where it is, what can we do about it? Well, first of all, I would suggest you don't live anywhere that's really, really hot, or has some damp areas for the snakes to cool down. So, stay in Britain, basically, because although it's damp, it's not hot enough for them to need to cool down, and it's not hot enough for them to really get around without help. Snakes require a lot of heat. So Britain, Canada, Scandinavia, places like that, anywhere that's a bit cold. Russia, there go for some parts of Russia. By living there, you won't really have to deal with a lot of them, just migratory snakes going through. Now, once you know that they're probably not around, or they are around, if you avoid places where they're going to live, like they might go and sleep in a crevice somewhere, so avoid enormous caves that could fit a giant snake into them, or abandoned buildings, because that's a man-made cave. The underground system, don't go on that. That's about it, really. Just anywhere dark, or anywhere you can't really see whether there's a giant snake hiding there, don't go in there. And carry weapons with you at all times. I've got mine here. This is Snake Biter. It gives me +2 against lizard men in my local live role-playing society games, so I'm hoping that it'll do me well with snakes, but if it doesn't, it's a pretty large thing, so I can probably bat things with it, and to at least get them away. Because as you can see, my martial prowess with the sword is amazing. What am I doing? And aside from that, I would run. Run really, really quickly. Giant snakes, I don't really know what their speed will be because we've never seen one. But you can never really go wrong with running away quickly. Oh, and heat. Always keep some fire with you or something warm. Because snakes have infrared vision. Well, certain snakes do. I think other ones probably don't. But all snakes are going to be afraid of fire because fire's too hot and it will burn them. So if you get into a really bad situation, sit next to a radiator or set a light to the building that you're in, and that will get rid of the snake. It'll get rid of the building as well, so you're going to have to find somewhere else to hang out. But you shouldn't be in buildings anyway because that's where giant snakes live. Now, that's all you really need to know fire, keep away from anywhere dark, live somewhere that's cold, and run away wherever you see one. And that's it from me. Until tomorrow, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching a video, and I hope you don't get eaten by giant snakes.